Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of What If Civilization Started Over. And in today's episode, we have some more kind of like reunification, as we've had a lot of unions happening recently, or annexation. And some of those are going to fall apart, and it's just going to be a big mess. Starting off, remember this one down here, the red team, the Holy Roman Empire, it is able to stick around. South America is pretty good, North America as well, but it becomes kind of a big deal when we get over to Africa. As the first part of this is the signing team that just reunified, and a little bit of it is going to break away, specifically up here in Iberia, and it eventually breaks away, and they can't do anything about it as they're going into rebuilding. And now, so if you remember your history, then you'll remember that Iberia used to be all under the sign team's control. They broke away under the blue team. They became allies. It kind of got re-put into the like the Cyan team's empire, but under this new Spanish color, and then the blue team eventually went away. But now it is back. Then it came back over here. Then it was taken over by Spain and Italy, and now it is back once again. And now this empire is a little bit smaller, and next, we see something that we've been waiting for for a long time, and it is the blue team. And as you can see, the blue team's capital is way up here, so it's kind of hard to reach all the way down to here. And then eventually, this capital starts in the making process to break away. Eventually it does all the way over here, and it takes about this much land at the very beginning, and it goes ahead and goes up, kind of sweeping through the land. But their allies are going to come help, and they help regain land, take back this major city, and all this stuff. And this is a very strong alliance. But of this, they're gonna have to work out something, as this area is just so far away. And they recapture all the land, and they make kind of a deal. And the deal basically is all this land goes over to them, including these provinces right here. So that's a lot of new extra land that this country gets. Kept right there, and boom, that's a new country. And the blue team doesn't have to have its reach cut out so broadly. And next we're looking over at Asia, and it's not really a union right now. There's like not really many unions, but one thing that will be happening is this tiny little gold team is retaken over. They were kind of irrelevant, like a lot of countries on the map right now, but they are able to recapture them. And now we need to look at something very important happening way up here. And we have no unions right now up here, or countries that have been unified lately. But Mongolia has gotten a rise in population, and they are basically like boosting their economy, and they end up attacking this blue team, going through all of their north territory and taking it all, leaving just the capital, which is way down here, which they are easily able to take away. Just like that. And they're going to incorporate the capital into their territory, as well as these two provinces. The rest of it is going to become part of this purple team right here. And now you might have seen some daily updates of sorts, like the daily Britain update and the daily Sri Lanka update, stuff like that. But now this is going to kind of be like our version of that, with the daily Central Asia update. And right here at the start of this, we've already seen the main start of this, but another part breaks away right here. And then we see the purple team spiraling into chaos as a new version of the blue team comes back as well. And the blue team was one of the most powerful, besides for like this green team, which was the most powerful. Oh. Which was the most powerful. And now that little part's breaking away. They're able to sustain it and make it and keep it over at that place for now. And while this is happening, this team takes advantage of it. The green team over here will take advantage of this and take one province. Meanwhile, the rest are just going to leave them alone. And these become new countries. And this is it's not the best because they're ignoring capital cities. Or they're ignoring provinces. So it's not the best, but eventually a peace agreement is worked out, and it basically just goes bad for the orange team, as they lose all of this land right here, or they gain all that land. And now we have over here, and it's more divided up, and this is kind of going to be the rise of some newer countries, and I hinted at a war last episode, and that is going to be coming into effect this episode, and that's going to be over here in Canada and Alaska. And we saw the formation of this Diamond Alliance, and it is going to attack Alaska. And starting off, there aren't very many major cities here, but they go ahead and march straight through. Both these together are kind of powerful. The blue team, it's not the most powerful, but they end up taking a lot of these islands to get close to the capital. Alaska is, for their location, they are very strong. They take back a lot of these islands and get into the mainland, eventually taking this other island and all this. Meanwhile, over here in Canada has pulled off some shocking moves and have invaded in, and they pulled off a great counteroffensive, taking all the way up to this lake and starting to head towards the capital surrounding the lake. Let's fix this. And they end up taking some other territory by the lake until they get pushed back just a bit down south. Just like that. Then over here on this front, the purple team does end up advancing into the blue team and cutting off all their water territory, which is very bad for them. They eventually march down here and they end up taking over some more of this area until the blue team gets their head back in the game and starts advancing. And they advance rapidly fast, even taking back a lot of their own territory. And they get them pushed back pretty far. And it gets to about this point, and Canada is now going very fast, trying to end the war. And it ends up being a very bloody battle. And they eventually get right outside the major city, and there's a big battle here. But Canada kind of commits some war crimes that aren't really a thing at this point, and surround the city and basically starve them out until Alaska can get their troops back in and recapture the city. But about half of the people are already dead. And it is a very bad time, and they're all looking at Canada and saying, "Why did you do that?" And this is just going to motivate the troops down here even more to reconnect up with the motherland, as they end up pushing all of this part back. And they take back it all. And they even go back onto these islands and all this. And they start working their way through this territory, like the Vancouver area. Eventually, Alaska is going to try to get the green team to join this war, but they don't really feel like it. They've been in enough wars recently, and even though America is a good power, they can't get in that war because they are very neutral. They're like the Switzerland of this time, basically. Kind of weird, but we see them making it back to the major city, capturing it once again. But this time fully capturing it, so. And then Alaska is going to be forced to surrender over. But before they are forced to surrender, they do gain some leverage down here. So maybe they don't lose all their territory. And then we'll see the peace treaty. And here's the peace treaty. And as you can see, Canada got 2 provinces, and they're occupying this little part of the province. Alaska, tired of this war, is going to go in and take it all back right here. And then we also see down here that Alaska got this island, and the blue team is very mad about this, that they weren't sending more support during the war. And that was pretty much going to be it for that war. But it does have a major event, as now Alaska is losing their economy, and it's failing very fast, as an uprising has occurred, and it starts going out through all this area, and it takes a lot of area, eventually capturing this major city over here, until it captures about this much area. And it's all captured under Dark Red Team's rule. And they're going to implement a communist dictatorship into rule, and everybody is now happy. All I know is I wouldn't be happy. But we see those major events happening in the video, and the map has changed a good amount. But up here, we see these two tensions arising between these two Russian countries, and tensions become very heated. Anyway, it becomes very heated, and war is about to break out. And when it does, the strongest one pretty much instantly wins. And it's this country, as the capital is instantly taken. It's kind of hard for the purple team to win because the capital is at the farthest away point from their capital. And all of it is integrated into their country. But a little bit does survive in the capital. And they eventually migrate out over to here and form the rest of their country back from the ashes. Couple there. It's all good. And there we go. Next, we gotta talk about the red team. The red team is a monarchy, and it is ruled by 2 leaders, normally. But in current times, at least. And both leaders hate each other, absolutely. And they hate each other so much that each of them decide to go their separate ways. And one of the brothers forms a northern little part as the northern red team, and the one down here forms another red team. And this is a very big event for the world. And there are AN peacekeepers, so basically just UN peacekeepers, but this version's series, the AN. And they all come and they've like stationed a perimeter right here, and they're trying to keep peace, but it's not working. And as for the normal red team, their capital goes back down to the original old capital, which is one of the largest cities in the world at this point. And the battle gets very heated, and when I say very, I mean very. So much so that they're going to have their own mini Cold War with some neighboring countries right here. This red team and the blue team. The blue team broke away from the red team, and it was a whole thing. But the pink team is going to supply the red team, helping them fund an invasion. Meanwhile, the other brother is going to supply help to the blue team. And the purple team has a slightly upper hand as well, with the purple team being a little bit stronger. And they're able to march pretty straight through, and they have a lot of combat skills, and they're very experienced soldiers that are fighting here. And they're able to capture a lot of the places very quickly. And we need to erase this blob mess right here. Fixed. Anyway, they end up taking about this much until the forces from the main red team get here, and they eventually kick them back out of this part. The dark red team is very vengeful though, and they even go up to the top, and eventually they work on capturing and going down and taking almost all of this. Just like this. Then we'll split it in half until it kind of forcibly surrenders all the way over to them. But they aren't really allowed to end the war. But eventually, when it does, it's going to end just like this. With the Dark Red team getting some of these provinces. Meanwhile, the rest go back to the blue team. And now the blue team is just a little bit more powerful, less powerful. And this argument is becoming one of the biggest arguments in the world. Eventually, they have to get rid of both leaders and reunify the red team, kind of ending an era, but they will keep both capitals, as both capitals hold important value. And another thing is, it's kind of a small thing. Down here, the rest of this team just gets annexed by this new border state thing. And Malaysia has pretty much collapsed. It's not really Malaysia in real life is down here. I do not know why I called it that, but they had like all this much land besides for, of course, Singapore and Brunei. But this is more like Thailand, I guess you could say. And now it's basically just became very low China. From what I see on my globe. So I don't think we have the right to call them Malaysia anymore. We can call them, let's do Myanmar. Myanmar should work. Oh no, this is Myanmar. Okay, yeah, just South China, I guess. And what's going to be happening is kind of the surrounding countries are going to go into kind of like an agreement. And the agreement basically says, because the government is about to fall apart, the economy has collapsed, there is nothing they can do to save them. So, why not just grab some for ourselves, they say. And Myanmar ended up taking a little bit. The border state does take a little bit. They take about that much. China ends up taking this one and this one. And the real China takes this place, this one, and they also take that one. Then the main part of it actually goes over to a Chinese puppet state, and we're gonna just draw it with and the puppet state's just gonna take outline. And this is going to be the border of the puppet state. And it's going to be basically the last parts of it. And this is now Laos, basically. So, this is what's left of the old Malaysia, Myanmar, Burma, whatever you want to call it. And the rest of it over here goes to yet another new country. Basically ending an era which already kind of ended, but this kind of cements it as the end of an era. as now I wouldn't really call this country a thing anymore. It's all gone. And that's gonna do it for today's episode. Not much has happened, but there is something very significant going to happen next episode, so stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.